PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Kelly. And on this edition, we're going to be discussing the head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights, Bruce Cassidy. And more importantly, on this episode, we are going to be kind of breaking down and analyzing what has made the Bruce Cassidy tenure so successful. What is the reason why the Vegas Golden Knights organization has done so well with Bruce Cassidy? Because, when you're looking at what he has done since he has been acquired, ever since he was brought over to the Vegas Golden Knights organization, you could try to, you could try to pinpoint one exact reason why Bruce Cassidy has been a great coach for the Vegas Golden Knights. But when it comes to success, when it comes to what Bruce Cassidy has done, we're going to be discussing not just one reason, but really a couple of reasons why Bruce Cassidy has been one of the best coaches, not just in Golden Knights history, not just one of the best coaches in the Western Conference. No, the reason why Bruce Cassidy is one of the best coaches in the NHL today. So that's going to be a really fun episode. We're going to be breaking down all of this, the 24-25 season, all that stuff. We got so many games that are going to be going down. So before all of that, I just wanted to very quickly come on here and do this video, kind of talk about, Bruce Cassidy's success with the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, here is a little recap on Bruce Cassidy before we kind of dig deep into it. What Bruce Cassidy did when he got to Vegas, because he was with the Boston Celtics. He was there for a couple of years. He was a solid coach. He was with the Boston Bruins when they lost to the St. Louis Blues in the Stanley Cup Finals. He was the coach when that happened. Bruce Cassidy, he gets brought over. He gets signed. He gets a nice extension. He comes down to Vegas from the Boston Bruins. And year one of him being the Vegas Golden Knights head coach, they become a Stanley Cup champion. They win it all when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights and Bruce Cassidy. Now, what happens alongside that? Year two, Bruce Cassidy with the Vegas Golden Knights helps them get into the playoffs. He's 2 for 2 in that aspect. And more importantly, yes, Bruce Cassidy helps the Golden Knights. They lose in the first round to the Dallas Stars. Anyone who's a Vegas Golden Knights fan or anyone who's a hockey fan, you already know about that. But in the 2 full seasons that Bruce Cassidy has been a member of the Vegas Golden Knights, his winning percentage is among the best. I mean, when you look at Gerard Gallant, look at Pete DeBoer, and Bruce Cassidy, they've all had successful tenures in Vegas. But Bruce Cassidy's has standed out for one main positive. The one reason why Bruce Cassidy's tenure has been a bright spot with the Vegas Golden Knights and how, he really helped win a Stanley Cup, when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights and everything there and the success that he has had with the Vegas Golden Knights. It's his passion. It is the way that Bruce Cassidy, he talks about the game, the way that he's on the bench, he riles up his players and he gets them, the passion that he displays when something happens on the ice. You see it on the bench. You see his mannerisms, his attitude. Bruce Cassidy, you watch him in morning skate, and we've been to plenty of morning skates. We have filmed morning skates here on Vegas Hockey Hub, our Instagram and our TikTok. We upload all of that to our social medias. But when Bruce Cassidy is doing the morning skate, he isn't just off in the corner, leaning on the side and watching everybody go around. No, Bruce Cassidy is skating around with the players. He's, helping them out. He's relaying information. He skates with the players. He talks to the players. And that is the passion that you see from Bruce Cassidy. You also notice that the way he speaks and the way he talks in interviews, it could be post-game, it could be pre-game. The way Bruce Cassidy discusses this. This is a guy in Bruce Cassidy that you can feel the enthusiasm when he's talking. This is someone that his knowledge and his hockey IQ, you can feel it the way he talks about certain subjects in the NHL, the way he answers certain questions. That is a passion that he has. And when you have a passionate coach, when you have someone who really wants this, all right, when you have someone who not just lives in hockey, but he breathes hockey, he eats hockey. This is someone at Bruce Cassidy that you can see it. He demonstrates it in practice during the game. This is someone who leads an organization. That's what I can respect about Bruce Cassidy, the passion that he has. And it's just a real testament to how Bruce Cassidy has done with the Vegas Golden Knights organization. And when you have a passionate coach, you get passionate players. And when you get passionate players that are willing to, go through a entire brick wall if they have to, that is an organization that is dangerous all 82 games. So, really the first reason on Bruce Cassidy's success with the Golden Knights, it's his passion that he displays in the game of hockey. And it's one of the main reasons why, ever since he got brought over, it has been a really good transformation with the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, Pete DeBoer and Bruce Cassidy, complete opposite. See, Pete DeBoer, he might show some emotion on the bench, but for the most part, he just has that stone cold look. Just that, like when he does post-game interviews, he's always had that same, oh, we're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing that. No, when Bruce Cassidy talks, you can kind of feel, him. You can feel his emotion. You can see what he displays on there. So, yeah, Bruce Cassidy, that's really the first thing that's so noticeable about him is that he has a not just for love for the game, but he is someone who displays it and he shows it well when it comes to Bruce Cassidy. Now, the second reason why he has been so successful with your Vegas Golden Knights, and this should be stating the obvious, right? Okay, this should be a no-brainer when it comes to hockey. He wants to win. Bruce Cassidy wants to win here in Vegas. Bruce Cassidy wanted to win a Stanley Cup. He wanted to hoist Lord Stanley. That was what Bruce Cassidy's goal, that was what his ambition was. And Bruce Cassidy showed that in Boston. It wasn't to the extent that we're seeing in Vegas. Granted, it's more of an up-close situation. We're seeing it more often here in Vegas than we probably ever saw in Boston. But with Bruce Cassidy, the day that he took over, he had that itch to win a championship. And what I respect about Bruce Cassidy and what we have seen in the season after and even after winning a championship, he still wants to win. Bruce Cassidy has that attitude of, let's go win another championship. Let's go get another speck on that ring for the Lord Stanley, all right? We want to create another side that has Vegas Golden Knights on it. It has a list of all the players and coaches and executives. We want another one. And you can respect that. You can respect a coach who wants to win every single night. You can respect a coach that is so determined to be a winning franchise that pretty much all he does is assemble a team that wants to go out and win. And I'm not going to sit here and bash certain coaches. I'm not going to call out certain coaches by name, but there's some guys in the NHL that due to either longevity or due to inexperience, they don't have that fierce hunger to win. All right. They want, sure, they might win some games. All right. Their win-loss record, they might have some of it, but you don't see that mentality when they're coaching a game. Now, let me give you an example of somebody who does want to win, okay? Let me give you an example of a coach who always wants to win. He is someone who is so passionate that he wanted to go out and he wanted to win every single night, and that is John Tortorella. You know, regardless of how you feel about his attitude, regardless of what you think about his post-game comments and all the stuff he does in the media, no one can deny that Torts wants to win. He is passionate about winning. He wants to have that culture in the hockey world. He's that type of guy. There's also somebody that, you know what, when it came to Joel Quenneville, he wanted to win. Regardless if it was in Chicago or if it was in Florida, he wanted to win. And even one of the greatest coaches of all time, when it came to Bowman, he is one of the most legendary coaches of all time because he wanted to win. He had that prestige. He had that pedigree, but he had that winning attitude. He wanted to go out and win championships, and that's what he was. You know, I mean, I could sit there and I could rattle off probably a dozen coaches that have that same winning attitude. But when it comes to Bruce Cassidy, you see it game in and game out. That the second reason why he's been so successful for your Vegas Golden Knights is that he wants to win. He wants to continue winning championships in Vegas. It isn't just a one and done. He wants to keep on going. And when you have a coach who wants to win, when you have a coach who is committed to winning championships, the roster, you're not going to see a lot of, you're not going to see a lot of the roster remaining the same. You're not going to see, up and down, up and down. No, you're going to see a steady line for a coach who wants to win. So, overall, when it comes to Bruce Cassidy, the two main reasons why he's been so successful with Vegas is been his passion for the game of hockey and that he wants to win and he wants to continue winning championships here with the Vegas Golden Knights. But I said there's more reasons, right? There's more reasons why Bruce Cassidy has been a success here in Vegas. And the third reason why Bruce Cassidy has been such a success is that he trusts his captain. And this is going to be a controversial take. There's going to be some people who are going to kind of look at this in a negative light, but I want you to hear me out real quick. Mark Stone is the rightful captain of the Vegas Golden Knights. Mark Stone is the right pick and was deserving to be the captain of the Vegas Golden Knights. Regardless of how some people felt when he got brought in, regardless of how some people felt when it came to Mark Stone being acquired from Ottawa, coming to the Vegas Golden Knights, he was meant to be a captain, and he has earned that C on his sweater. And the thing that I like about Bruce Cassidy is that he lets Mark Stone be the captain. And what do I mean by that? What do I mean by he lets Mark Stone be the captain? Essentially, when it comes to the captain responsibilities, Mark Stone goes out there and he fulfills it every single time he's on the ice. When Bruce Cassidy is on the bench and he's relaying and he's directing information, Mark Stone is a leader. Mark Stone is the one on the bench, and you see him talking to the other guys. He's doing that. When he's on the ice, he's skating around. He is setting up plays. He's directing while he's on the ice. And that's what a captain does. That's what a leader does. And for a coach to have complete trust in his captain tells you how successful Bruce Cassidy has been. Because there's been, historically, there's been times where a coach and a captain will have some disagreements, where a coach and a captain will not see eye to eye. They won't get along, and it kind of creates a divide, a rift in the locker room. But here in Vegas, we see that when Mark Stone is on the ice, the Vegas Golden Knights perform all the way up here, and when he's not, they're down here. when Mark Stone is your captain and he's in the locker room and he's participating with the team, the attitude is different. The aura is different when it comes to Mark Stone. And I give a lot of credit to Bruce Cassidy for allowing that to happen. Because this is a guy that didn't have to do that. All right, he's not required to trust his captain to be that way. But Bruce Cassidy does. And it's displayed with Mark Stone, the way he performed this past season. Regardless of what line you put him on, who his line mates are, regardless of, what the season that we're seeing, it doesn't matter. Mark Stone displays the sportsmanship that you need from a captain. And to the person watching, by the way, who I know you're not the biggest fan of Mark Stone, I want you to understand this. He was chosen as a captain. He didn't pick it. He didn't demand it. Normally in hockey, the captain is chosen. So when it comes to Mark Stone, him being chosen as the captain and the fact that Bruce Cassidy comes in from Boston and he didn't make big changes. He didn't, strip somebody from the captaincy. He didn't do any of that. No, he kept it mostly the same and he trusted his guys that they were going to do the job. So you have to sit there and applaud Mark Stone as a captain. You have to kind of acknowledge that Bruce Cassidy has done it right when it comes to Mark Stone. Now, there's two more reasons why Bruce Cassidy has had success with the Vegas Golden Knights. And I already talked about his passion for the game. I talked about his commitment to winning here in Vegas. And I just recently talked about the fact that he trusts his captain to be a captain, to be a leader out there in the hockey. But the fourth reason why Bruce Cassidy has had success in Vegas, his veterans are trusted. The veteran leadership is trusted here in Vegas. If you are a veteran and you're someone who has been in the league for 10, 15 years, you're someone who's earned your stripes and you've played your 700, 800, 900, 1,000 games in the NHL, you are someone that Bruce Cassidy kind of looks at and depends on every single night. We have seen with the defensive pairings, he does that with veterans. We see with the forwards, he does it with his veterans. I mean, case in point, what Bruce Cassidy did when he first got to Vegas, they brought in a former Boston Bruin, a guy who was a star in his prime, in Phil Kessel. And when they brought Phil Kessel in on the bottom six, not only was it done to break the Iron Man streak, which he did, but more importantly, Bruce Cassidy brought somebody in who was an established veteran and someone that the young guys could look at and depend on the bottom six. Let's not forget that bottom six, you had Brett Howden, you had Keane Kolazar, you had Nicholas Waugh, you had players who were on the younger side when Phil Kessel was there. Michael Amadio had been around the league for a while. He had been a veteran. He played X amount of games out there in LA and Ottawa and Toronto. And then he gets that bottom six role. He turns it into a middle six role here in Vegas. And even when he's playing alongside a guy like a Pavel Dorofeyev or a Paul Cotter or a Brett Howden, it didn't matter who the young guy was. Michael Amadio and Chandler Stevenson were two veterans that were kind of trusted to model their middle six and help out the young guys that were on the wings. And a lot of that I look at as the leadership quality of Bruce Cassidy. Bruce Cassidy, as a head coach, is very much responsible for how he has led this team and has he pointed them in the right direction. So overall, when we're talking about the success of the Golden Knights, Bruce Cassidy's veteran trusting is so valuable. I mean, on a defense, let's not forget that Braden McNabb was there when Shea Theodore was just starting out. When Derek England was towards the back end of his run, that was Pete DeBoer and everything like that. But you also had Derek England in the front office. He's an executive. He's the one who's still around the organization. And let's also not forget, there's also a same Bruce Cassidy that had Alec Martinez, who was a multi-time Stanley Cup champion, skating with young guys like Caden Korzak, Nicholas Haig, Zach Whitecloud, guys who are, kind of planting themselves now as an everyday starter in the NHL. We saw that Alec Martinez for about 2 years was being paired up with younger guys. Noah Hannafin's in his prime right now. We're seeing him with Alex Pietrangelo, the veteran defenseman, and the guy in his prime. We're seeing Braden McNabb and Shea Theodore the last 2 seasons. Braden McNabb, the excellent shot blocker and someone who has been an excellent veteran presence on the Golden Knights organization. And then you have a prime defenseman like Shea Theodore, who has been his pairing mate for essentially the last couple of years. Ben Hutton has been a good veteran defenseman who was, in Anaheim. He was in Vancouver. Like, this was a situation where when it comes to veteran leadership, Bruce Cassidy has found a way to go to veterans and kind of trust them to help out guys who are younger and people who don't have as much experience as those veterans do. And in my opinion, that is an excellent reason as to why Bruce Cassidy has had success with the Vegas Golden Knights. He has been as successful with the Golden Knights, not just because of the passion he has for the game of hockey, which he displays all the time, not just because of his wanting to win and his willingness to do whatever it takes to win another championship in Vegas. He's not just a one and done. And it's not just him trusting his captain to be a leader off the ice and on the ice. More importantly, Bruce Cassidy has taken the responsibility of taking veterans, guys who have been someplace else, bringing them into the fold and letting them contribute in their own way here in Vegas. So as we are talking on this episode of PR Connections Radio on Vegas Hockey Hub, Bruce Cassidy's success with the Vegas Golden Knights. And this brings up my 5th and most important reason. And this is a reason that he got bashed for in Boston. This 5th reason was a hesitant when he was the Boston Bruins head coach. Because there was people who didn't know if Bruce Cassidy knew how to handle young players correctly. There was so many first-round picks and young prospects that came into the Boston Bruins system, and it felt like they were just tossed aside, or he was forced to be on the bottom 6 when they knew they could be a middle 6 forward. Or, you had a second defensive pairing who knew that he had the talent to be a first defensive pairing out there in Boston. But to give Bruce Cassidy credit, to give Bruce some very well acclaimed situations, Bruce Cassidy has handled young players exceptionally well here in Vegas. Now, if you want to be a party pooper, you want to be a downer, yeah, you could talk about the first round pick situation, but that's outside of Bruce Cassidy. I'm not going to sit here and say that's Bruce Cassidy's fault that the last 5 first round picks have ended up going somewhere else with the Golden Knights organization. I'm not blaming Bruce Cassidy for that. All right, I'm not going to sit here and say that the not development of a bottom 6 forward who was the 2020 first round pick, someone who they're praying and hoping can one day develop, I don't blame Bruce Cassidy for that. There's something internally that is happening there. That's not Bruce Cassidy's fault. The fact that guys like Zach Dean and Peyton Krebs and those type of players, they didn't develop here in Vegas. Well, here's the thing. They weren't going to develop because they weren't really in the system yet. Zach Dean was, really in the juniors at that point. Peyton Krebs was in the minors and was really being established in juniors, but he was in the minors. Barely got a shot in the majors. So when I say handling of young players, who am I referring to? Well, the main person that you can go to as him benefiting these young guys. Well, you can look at Nicholas Hague. Nicholas Hague went from being a guy who was drafted in the second round, 2017, the inaugural draft class with the Vegas Golden Knights, and before Bruce Cassidy got here, it seemed like Nicholas Hague was kind of just floating, right? It just seemed like he kind of just really didn't mix anywhere with the Golden Knights. He really didn't find his footing with the Golden Knights organization. He just kind of seemed like he was in neutral. But Bruce Cassidy takes over. And in the 2 full seasons that we've seen Bruce Cassidy's system, Nicholas Hague has benefited a lot. Nicholas Hague uses his body and his size to his advantage. He has been in the starting lineup almost every single game now. Before Bruce Cassidy got here, he was in and out of the lineup. Healthy scratch, third defensive pairing, back to a healthy scratch. So, Nicholas Hague's an example. Someone else you could mention is a guy like Nicholas Waugh. Nicholas Waugh is a bottom 6 forward, a 4th line center. But thanks to Bruce Cassidy, we saw him play first line minutes when guys like Jack Eichel gets hurt. Nicholas Waugh took his opportunity and benefited mightily when he got top 6 minutes. And he actually had an incredible stat year this past year. It looks like he's going to do it again. How about a guy like Keegan Kolesar? Keegan Kolesar, that was a young, unproven, raw talent with the Golden Knights, and now has become a proven team leader with the Golden Knights. I have no doubt in my mind that Bruce Cassidy's leadership is a good part of how Keegan Kolesar has become a dependable guy in the locker room for the Vegas Golden Knights. Hey, trust me, I keep on going. Caden Korczak has developed with the Golden Knights. We're seeing what he's doing as a young player. But the biggest example is Pavel Dorofeyev. Pavel Dorofeyev has been, as of this recording, the best young player the Golden Knights have had. Pavel Dorofeyev was homegrown with the Golden Knights. He was drafted. He was developed. He was scouted. And he eventually grew into a system. And now, I will say, he's the he's the best prospect the Golden Knights kept in their system. So, when it comes to handling young players, I think Bruce Cassidy's done well. When it comes to trusting veterans, Bruce Cassidy has done well. Letting Mark Stone be the captain and a leader, he's doing that. Bruce Cassidy's desire to win more championships, you feel it. And his passion and his energy, you can feel it. So, when we're talking about Bruce Cassidy's success with the Golden Knights, I just gave you the 5 ways Bruce Cassidy's been successful with the Golden Knights. And this is Vegas Hockey Hub. I'm your host, Ian Rakelli. This is PR Connections Radio. Go to the website, www.prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media. Over a dozen shows on the platform, so I highly recommend checking out all of them on the website. Follow us on social media. We're on all major platforms at Vegas Hockey Hub. And if you want to follow your host, I am down below at IANJRACHIELE, Ian J. Rakelli. I'm on all major platforms as well. And Until next time, go Knights, go.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.